next speaker will be Bobby Rountree, AKA Dapper Data. He is the founder and CEO of Dapper Data LLC. Dapper Data is a data science enthusiast and social media analytics coach who transforms random, seemingly complex, unusable social media data into easily digestible, valuable insights that make positive impacts on a business's bottom line. Through his career, he's touched every piece of technology one could imagine. He has a bachelor's in computer science, master's in cybersecurity, and currently pursuing a doctorate in data science. He just released his book, which I will probably get because I have a business, okay, called Increase Profits with Social Media Analytics 101. Okay, so without further delay, I'm going to play the pre-recording. All right.
Today. So my name is Bobby Rountree. I am also known as Dapper Data, and I'll tell you a little bit about why they call me Dapper Data in a little bit. But first, I just want to say thank you for having me here today, and it's truly an honor, truly a blessing to be able to do a talk on what I'm very passionate about, and that is social media data analytics. So today, I'm going to talk to you about how I like to drive business value with social media data analytics. And it's important to understand this because if you don't know by now, right, all businesses in general are using social media to drive value for their business. They're trying to build their brand up. They're trying to make more money, make more revenue, right? They're trying to use their time effectively. And there's ways to be able to do that, okay? There's ways to be able to do that with your business without using data. Okay, and in my opinion, uh, that is there are a lot of disadvantages of doing that, but there's also a lot of ways to do it while using data. Right? You want to be able to use the insights to help drive value with social media analytics. And so, just a little bit of background about me. I have been in the IT industry for about 14 years. I have been in the data science industry for about 5 years, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. But my focus has has been in data science and has been in data analytics for these past 5 years. And I started off in computer science at Bowie State University, and from there I went on to get my cybersecurity degree. That's my master's degree in at University of Maryland University College, and now I'm currently pursuing my doctorate at North Central University in data science. And so IT has been an intricate part of my life for many years, and I've started to hone in on data science. And why, right? I mean, a lot of people say, why data science now? Well, for me, it's because I truly believe that data science will be the thing that actually changes the world, the thing that makes a huge difference in the world, if not already, right? You hear all the buzzwords, artificial intelligence, you hear machine learning, right? But there's many companies out there that are using data now to help make better decisions, to help do some miraculous things, right, in the world. And it's only going to get better. I believe that data science will be the thing that cures world hunger, that cures like homelessness, that cures cancer, and it's only a matter of time that all these things will come to fruition. So I'm a big data advocate, a data enthusiast, as you'll see going forward. But what I really do is what I really focus in on right now is studying what is called social media or social network analysis. Okay. And social network analysis is really the process of being able to analyze and gather some of those relationships that are on social media right now. And you have your Facebook, you have your Instagram, you got Twitter, you got LinkedIn. And I really study a lot of those social media platforms and understand how I can make relationships with people, make connections with people, and also understand how I can make connections with their friends or their followers. Okay. And continue that level of separation connection. And so it's important to understand that even as a business, because sometimes it's not about the person that's directly in front of you that you're trying to connect with. Sometimes it's the person's friend, right? And you want to be able to get through to the person that you're connected with to get in contact with their friend. And so it's important to understand that when you're trying to drive conversation, you're trying to drive products, and you're trying to build value within your company. Now, throughout this presentation, I'll talk a lot. I'll talk a lot about a lot, right? But I really want to talk about who is Dapper Data and my role in data analytics currently, and a little bit of background about myself as far as my role in data in general in the past and some of my history and credentials. Then I want to talk about what is social media analytics because that's important. Okay, it's important to set the foundation for you all to understand. There is a lot of people talk about social media in general, the platforms, but the analytics piece is what people don't talk about as much. Now, from there, I want to go and talk about some of the top five or top, I think five or four or so social media analytics tools that are out there, and these are free tools. Okay, that's important to understand because these tools will help any company drive value for their business. And then next, I want to talk about why do businesses really care about this? Because if you're a business owner, you need to understand that there's value in the data, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why that is important to you. What does it help you with? Um, and then I'll follow up with that by really discussing how social media data business takes a business to the next level and how to drive business value with social media data analytics. Now, who is Dapper Data? Okay. Now, when you think dapper, you think whole, you think complete, you think clean, you think neat, right? If you look up the definition of dapper, that's what will come to mind. That's what will come on Google search. And when you think data, okay, like I said, I think data is something that is going to make a tremendous difference, and it already has made a tremendous difference in the world. But we have to understand that you cannot make great decisions with incomplete data. You can't make great decisions with dirty data, right? It's all about the quality of data. That's what helps you make the better decision. I can collect a ridiculous amount of data. I can collect a bunch of data. That's all good. That's fine. But the quality of the data, right? I can make quality decisions with quality data. And so what you want is your data to be dapper. You want your data to be whole. You want it to be complete. You want it to be smooth. You want it to look good. Okay, so that the high level execs, the people that are making the decision, those decision makers are the ones that really care about the data being clean because they're making the final decision. All right. And so what you'll see here is that I talk a little bit about what I do with Dapper Data, and I am the founder and CEO of Dapper Data LLC, data enthusiast. So that means I just love data. I love it to death, right? I do. I love every aspect of it. Any of the buzzwords, we can have a conversation about it. I truly love it. Um, I am also a social media analytics coach. So what I do is I help a lot of businesses turn to use data to help make better decisions. Okay, to help them do things like drive traffic to their website, to manage their time better, to be more strategic, all those different things, right? And I focus in on increasing revenue, profit, and really honing in on that target audience, because a lot of times you could be speaking to anybody in the world, but who is your target audience? Okay, if I am dealing with data science in the sports field, why do I care about talking to somebody in the health industry? I don't know. If I'm in the health industry, why do I care about talking to somebody in the financial industry? If I am a real estate agent, why do I really care about um, trying to sell to somebody that just purchased a car? I mean, I'm sorry, just purchased a house. I'm not trying to do that. If I am a real estate agent, why do I care about talking to somebody who just probably paid off their house? They're above the age of maybe 67 years old. They're probably not looking to buy a house. If they're under the age of 25 years old, they might not be looking to buy a house, right? So being able to understand that you have a specific target audience, they have a specific location. Okay, if I'm doing real estate, maybe I don't care about doing real estate in California if I live in Maryland. Maybe I only want to focus on the Maryland area. Um, so leaning into that, I was born and raised in the uh, DMV. So for those of you who do not know what that is, that's the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. I am the father of two kids. I have a 10-year-old son and a 3-year-old son. I also, a little fun fact about me, I own a restaurant in Ghana, in Africa, in Accra specifically. And I do a lot of work there as the CTO of the restaurant. So it's three of us, three owners. And if you want to know more about, how I got into that, definitely just ping me later on when I give you my contact information. So over the past 14 years, I've worked in probably every part of the IT industry you can think of: help desk, network administration, Linux admin, operating systems, servers, stores, networking, routers, switches, whatever it is. I can talk about all of it. But one thing I was always so fascinated with was the data. I love the speed of data. I was always trying to make it go faster and faster. So I would try a little project here and there and try to make it go faster and faster. And I began to realize that, that the main part of this whole network infrastructure that I work with was the data. Everything was about protecting it, being able to access it faster, being able to have availability of it. So I started to say, well, if the data is that important, maybe I want to get closer to it. Maybe I want to figure out what value that data brings. Because at the end of the day, from a business standpoint, the C-level execs, the people that are making the decision, they don't necessarily care about the hardware, if that makes sense. Okay. So I always say that the most valuable part of an infrastructure of a company, of of a platform, is the data. Now the perks that come along with it is the hardware that is running on. Okay, if you want to go faster, you get faster hardware, whatever it is. So I started going down that route. But like I said, I did computer science at Bowie State University. From there, I ended up getting my master's degree in cybersecurity, and now I'm doing my PhD in data science. Uh, I work a lot with small businesses, right, to help them understand that they already know this, right? They already know that they cannot hire data scientists a lot of times because they don't have the budget. A lot of the bigger companies, they can hire these data scientists. They can definitely put in a lot of money, a lot of effort into hiring a team of data scientists, and and that's fine. But the small businesses, sometimes they need to take ownership of the data themselves and being able to help grab the insights and understand what some of these things mean. And since everybody's on social media now, small businesses, big businesses, it doesn't matter. They all want to play in the same playground. I help small businesses be able to play with the big dogs. So I help them be able to use social media just like large businesses. But to take a step further, I help them to use the insights that are there. All those analytics tools, they're free, they're paid for. I have done extensive research and study on those tools to be able to help them listen to their audience, listen to their target audience, find who their target audience is, the demographics, the gender, the age range, helping them be able to figure out, are they wasting time in creating ads for a specific audience when they should be creating ads for another audience. So those are the things that I like to help small business out with. And I have a lot of clients right now that I engage with on a regular basis to be able to help them use data to make better decisions. I'm also author of increasing social media analytics, the beginner's guide, where I show a lot of small businesses how to look at the tools like YouTube analytics, LinkedIn analytics, Twitter analytics, your Instagram insights. So I look at those four tools in depth, right? So we go deep with those tools in the book, and I show you exactly how to access the tools and what you can do with the tools. And then I also talk about what the tools mean to you. All right. So here, I just want to talk about my role over the years in data analytics. So I've already talked about what I'm currently doing, but just a little bit of background. Okay, I've talked about how I have had about 5 or 6 years of data analytics and data science background under me. But previously, I worked with a company called Hitachi Vantara Federal. That's where I helped out a lot of small businesses. I helped a lot of large businesses, but it was specific to the Department of Defense. Now, Department of Defense having a lot of mission critical applications, I've been able to help them look at their data. So I was the data intelligence lead for them, end to end, being able to ingest data, analyze it, help do some predictions on the data, and also being able to store it securely and in different domains. And also worked a lot in the cloud, being able to tier the data off to the cloud. So a true data management um, situation where you're looking at the data from end to end. And typically, what you'll see is there are within that long stretch of bringing the data in, ingesting it, and then also being able to store it somewhere and analyze the data as well. That whole transformation process, you can merge it and you can play around with the data as well in there, and being able to allow customers to access the data all the time, 24/7, without any hiccups, do updates and all that good stuff. When you look at that in the end process, that's not a one person. That's not really a one person job, right? Job role, career role. So there's multiple roles within that you can play. At a high level, that's where I was at. I understood the whole process, being able to go from end to end. So that was sort of managing the entire infrastructure as the data intelligence lead. From there, I ended up going to a company called Oracle Incorporated. And so that's where I'm currently at now, along with doing my Dapper Data company as well on the side. But with Oracle, that's my day job. I usually work there to focus in on a lot of the databases. Now, when you hear about data, you hear databases a lot. You know, that's where the data is stored, and they're accessed different ways. They're secure different ways. So it's all about securing and accessing the data, running queries on it to be able to make sure that I can find certain patterns, unique patterns in the data set, and all that good stuff. And so what what I've done over time is I've done a lot of data work. Like I said, whether it's securing the data, whether it is analyzing the data, whether it is storing it, archiving it, putting the data in the cloud, being able to access it from all those different parts. But when you have the data stored in these locations, you can use programming languages to be able to access the data and do some stuff that you can't do with some of the tools. It's always good. I always advise everybody if you can learn some type of programming language. I mean that is great. All right. So what I learned was Python and R. Now, I'm not the greatest at Python. I taught myself Python. My background in programming was Java and C++. So once you learn one language, honestly, you can probably use that language to help guide you along and figure out the other languages as well. And so what I did was I ended up learning a language called R. So right now I call myself an R researcher at Oracle, really using R to connect to databases, connect to different applications, and the data is stored to pull. I might pull down like data in the format of a CSV file or something like that, and and when I do that, I can start to merge the data, find unique patterns in the data, do some cleaning of the data, and really turn it into something that's valuable for the end user, for the decision maker, as we talk about. So that's some of the things I do with data now, and data is very important to me. So my life of the 5 years that I've been involved in it, I have dug so deep into the data, into the world of data, and even taking it over. I know I talked about the restaurant that I have in Ghana. So there, right, is in West Africa. So it's a lot of up and coming um, countries within Africa, and one of them being Ghana. And so within Ghana, they're not really as they're technically savvy, but it's not as modern from a technology standpoint as you would see here in the States. But what I'm doing is with the restaurant specifically, using data to help with things like trying to see what the times of the what the times of the customers when the customers come in to to order the food, how long does it take to cook the food, prepare it, and all that good stuff, and actually get it out to the customer. So really trying to help out with increasing efficiency on time. Also, building a loyalty program, so being able to track when customers are closer. Okay, being able to hone in on their certain information that they can provide to us, the emails, their phone numbers, and when you get that, then I can do things like I can take customer A whenever they come by the restaurant, come near it, they could get a text message that says, "Hey, I know you're near here. Wouldn't you like to try out our new food? Right? Maybe these new wings that we have, or jollof rice or something like that, because we know that that's their favorite based off of them ordering it, and then that we're collecting that data. All right. Now, what is social media analytics? So social media is used everywhere, as I've mentioned before, and people do things like wake up. I mean, I was one of those people, right? Like I would wake up first thing in the morning. I'm on Instagram, I'm on Twitter, tweeting, I'm on LinkedIn, trying to build connections, professional connections with people. I'm on YouTube, just trying to learn the latest and greatest things because YouTube, don't sleep on YouTube. YouTube will you can learn anything and everything about YouTube. Okay, so don't let me go on that rant. I love YouTube. Now, people do that, right? The first 15 minutes, 20 minutes of the day, studies show that people are constantly on social media. And why is that? Because they're consumers. A lot of them want to figure out what are other consumer opinions. They want to gain new experiences. They want to be nosy, right? They want to get ideas on what to purchase next. What's the latest and greatest thing they can purchase? They want to gain advice. They want to have preferences and get preferences from other consumers towards things like the latest brands that are out there, the latest products, right? They want to be innovative and help them come up with new ideas for new products. They want to look at the latest service offerings that are out there and compare it to others. So there's a such thing as consumer-based analytics. Now, a lot of people are going on to compare their own data. They're using data now. Consumers are using data. They're collecting things to be able to do side-by-side comparisons of products and services that are out there. Okay, and all these things are bringing potentially great value to the business if they're using the data to be able to gauge whether they are making the right decisions as far as putting the right offerings that are out there. Yeah, and for a lot of small businesses, the data is really the only employee they have, right? I like to talk about how the data is an actual employee. It might be one of your best employees that you have on a team, even if you have other employees, because the data will always be there to help you make those better decisions that you need to make. And every year you see businesses are doing things like analyzing their top content to see what works. All right. They're doing things like looking at the next year's content. They want to say, okay, uh, I've been putting out videos and videos in this one location for a while, but when I put videos in this other location, for some reason, I'm getting more engagement, I'm getting more hits, and so they want to be able to look at those things to help them make better decisions on what to put out the next year. Why waste your time? Why waste your time when you have the data that's actually showing you everything you need to help you make better decisions? So these are the four things that I see a lot of companies talk about as far as what they believe social media analytics helps them out with, helps them provide customer insight. Uh, they get to figure out who their real customers are. Okay, and that's the bottom line. And that's something that's necessary and it's important to every business because there's no need to waste your time. I always talk about time management is key. Helps them develop. It helps them develop a better strategy and goals for uh, for their company, and that's very important. Okay, you need to have a solid plan in place to be able to help you make some of those better decisions. Now, next thing to talk about is collecting new ideas about your products or services. Now, there's a lot of companies out there that actually collect ideas on their competitors. The consumer, a lot of times, is actually telling you, they're saying, hey, this is what I want. This is what I wish they would have more at Target, or this is what I wish they would have more at Costco, or any other. I wish Popeyes came out with chicken nuggets. Well, Popeyes did listen to what was out there, and they actually said, okay, we're going to come out with chicken nuggets, and it started doing great. The chicken sandwich, okay, they didn't just make that chicken sandwich at Popeyes just because they actually listened to what people were saying about Popeyes. They would do a hashtag Popeyes. I wish they would come out with a chicken sandwich, a spicy chicken sandwich. And here you go. They came out with the chicken sandwich and it caused all kinds of havoc, right? I mean, you all seen it. All right. So, and finally, they talk about return on investment. Now, me as a small business owner, I'm putting a lot of work in. And as I'm putting all this work in as a small business owner, I want to make sure that I'm just not doing it in vain. I want to make sure that I'm putting in this work and I'm getting a solid return on investment. Okay. Or else there's no need for me to take this road or this avenue. Okay. And so the need to measure return on investment and the effectiveness of online marketing initiatives is key for every small business that's out there. Now here, what I've done is I've shown you, this slide really shows you that you have tools that are out there on every social media platform that you can use, and it's free. These tools are already free for you. Now, how to use the tools is another thing, okay? And that's something that you need to do a little bit of research on, or you can contact me. I can help you out with that. But every business needs social media, as I talk about all the time, okay? And for me, just to put it plain and simple, would you rather it take months or would you rather it take years to figure out if you're making the right moves or if you're on the right social media platform or not? Every business doesn't need YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Okay, you may just need Facebook and Instagram. You may just need LinkedIn. That's it. You may just need to be tweeting and stuff, right? You might be a company that is only into politics or something like that, and tweeting a lot and voicing your own opinion about things makes you the expert in that field. All right. And so having the right tool is so important, okay, to be able to conduct social media analytics and to be able to understand that that means that you can look at the benchmarks to help you make better decisions and strategies in place for you. Now, from a YouTube standpoint, YouTube overall channel traffic can be collected over time. Okay, so you're able to take that traffic over time, who's coming to your YouTube page, and you're able to actually make decisions based off of whether that's your target audience or not, right? Being able to see, is that the right demographics for you, for YouTube, or is it not? Are these videos productive? Okay, I have a YouTube page. I'm gonna be honest, it's something that's not grabbing the attention right now of a lot of users. I don't know if it's the hashtags that I'm putting in there. They say that it really matters what your thumbnail looks like. Okay, so it's important to understand the thumbnail is important on YouTube channel to be able to get somebody's attention initially. That's just to do the view, but over time it says, hey, Dapper Data, you're getting people to come into your video, but they're not staying throughout the entire video. Well, maybe my video is too long. And that's important for a business to understand as well. So it helps you do all those great things. Now, when you look at Facebook, okay, Facebook is probably the number one platform for small businesses right now. And Facebook helps you do things like explore some of the user interactions with advanced goal paths in mind. They have Facebook ads in place, they have an audience tracker as well. And so it helps track and measure your results so you can improve your strategy and measure your return on investment. Okay. And they also have advanced machine learning capabilities. So we're talking about predictions in place. If I did this over time based off of the data that you're already collecting, then I predict that you will be in this place later on. So I love Facebook. Okay, they have groups as well in there, and you're able to analyze the groups. You're able to do surveys on there. You're able to analyze that as well. So it's a lot of data that can be collected, and of course, it's tied into Instagram, so you can do comparisons on both platforms just from Facebook analytics. Now, Twitter is different. Okay, Twitter is one of the top social media analytics platform, but Twitter provides valuable insight into your account, your followers, and the Twitter community as a whole. So you can download the files, the CSV files from Twitter, and you're able to do some amazing things if you're very technical. But if not, it tells you a lot of things. Okay, it gives you information about your followers' interests, what devices they use. The device is important. I have a client right now that was trying to increase conversion rate for their merchandise that they're selling. So they were trying to figure out why, for some reason, they were not getting a good conversion rate. Well, we found out by looking at the data on their Facebook and their Twitter pages that they were not getting a good conversion rate because when people would click on the ads that were on these social media platforms, majority of them was using their mobile apps to do it. Now, mobile apps are different from your desktop because they may show what you're trying to look at differently. Now, what this customer did was their desktop app, when they displayed their website, everything looked great. But the mobile display of their website, it looked real janky. It looked crazy. Okay. And so when they changed that up, it increased their conversion rate by like 20 to 30%. And so that's important to understand, what devices are they using? You want to know their behavior. You want to know your customer's behavior, and you want to be able to do a keyword search and all that good stuff. All right. And LinkedIn is it. Okay. I listened to a motivation speaker called Gary V. He said his name is Gary V. He said that LinkedIn is probably one of the most underrated platforms right now, and being able to look at the data on that is so key because you're trying to build network, you're trying to build relationships with everybody. And so I did a post recently where I was able to look at the data on LinkedIn to show who's viewing my profile more. All right. And what that told me was that I need to engage with those type of businesses or people more because they're more interested in the stuff that I'm putting out. Why waste my time on doing that campaigns for people that don't even look at my stuff, right? And finally, Instagram. So Instagram is more for a different range, a different audience. And what you'll do is you'll be able to see similar things in Facebook. Through Facebook, you can see some of the insights on Instagram as well. But Instagram shows you things like which of your posts are most popular. So if that post is most popular, why not continue to do that? It shows you your accounts impressions, the reach that you're getting, and it's analyzing such data where you can help yourself like increase engagement and optimize your time as well. And again, I just want to highlight these tools are free. So you need to use them in small businesses. All right. So here on this slide, I want to talk about the 4 reasons why businesses care about social media analytics. And most of my clients, what I did was I talked to my clients. I said, "Hey, look, I need you to tell me." It would be in a survey after I have a consultation with them, and And I'm really asking them, why do you care? You know, what makes you care about social media analytics? And I give them the survey before and I give them after and I compare. Okay. And it definitely, what happens is their answer definitely changes because a lot of times they don't understand the value of social media analytics. Now, I continue to talk about saving time and improving return on investment. Okay. Now that's something that they said. I didn't say that. They said this. Analyzing the followers and identifying the influencers and comparing the platforms. Now, as you observe what kind of content works best for you, it's possible to stop wasting time on less effective content. That's just the bottom line. And in the long run, they can help you save money and make your business more profitable. That is the key. Okay, that's where the return on investment comes into play. You can track how many leads your social media efforts are bringing in and how many of those leads turn into customers. Okay, the conversion rate is very important. And this is an especially useful thing to do on Twitter. Okay, when you're talking about analyzing followers, people tweet because they want to understand they want people to look at them as that expert. So they're voicing their opinions on things, whether it's politics, sports, finances, it doesn't matter. And so this is very important on Twitter for a lot of the businesses because they want to look at their competition, right? Who's voicing their opinion on things? What's the latest products that's coming out? Why is this product uh, 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 not so good, right? Why is this product great? They want to hear the sentiment in different people. They want to hear the emotions from different people. And so finding out, for example, who your followers are, following is very key. And Twitter helps you out with that. Okay, they help you understand that better, and it also provides you a list of more of the potential contacts. So this can also be helpful on other social media networks as well when you're comparing things like Facebook or Pinterest or LinkedIn. You can use this information to learn more about the followers or your business and see who's more customer friendly. Okay, and finally, when I talk about the influencers and comparing the platforms. Influencers don't necessarily have to be some famous person. It doesn't have to be Morgan Freeman or Tom Cruise. Okay, it doesn't have to be Samuel Jackson. All right, it doesn't have to be anybody famous, Steve Jobs. You know, it doesn't have to be anybody who has been famous, you know, in their lifetime. Okay, it they can be people hidden in your list of contacts that you have who create some type of disproportionate amount of activity around your content. So it's just somebody that takes your content that whatever, not take your content specifically, but this could be somebody in say the financial industry, and say you're doing you have a small business specifically on credit card fraud. All right, now this influencer could be somebody that all they do is talk about credit card fraud and identity theft in the financial industry, and so that could be an influencer. You want to know who is the most active in sharing, liking, and commenting on your post. That's what you want to know. And you can get that from the data itself. Now, I know y'all like the little pop up that I had just then. All right. So, how social media data takes businesses to the next level. That's what is the most important to a small business. When they come to me, they say, "Hey, look, I want to know how can I take my business to the next level?" And I say, you have to use the data. Okay. And that's the first thing that we go into. Now there are many pages out there that talk about this. A lot of subject matter experts that are out there that are engaging with digital marketing and social media analytics. They talk about how developing social strategies to support overall business goals remains the number one challenge for at least 47% of social media marketers. That is very important to understand. And so using the data and social media will help you build data backed strategies. So you're making decisions now that are supported by the data. You can make better decisions, but now you're making supported decisions. So you can go back and look at the statistics of it and help you make better decisions that are supported as well. So that's very important. Going to market with confidence. Okay. When you go in to the market, to your industry now, and you're talking as a subject matter expert, you are backed by the data, as I talked about before. And so you're confident. All right. Social media is no longer just a place to chat with your friends or keep up with your family, or the posts or the photos. That's all great. Okay. That's all great. Looking at the vacations that are out there, all that stuff is great. It is where most consumers love to purchase in every industry now. So most of the time, you're looking at stuff on social media to make the purchase that you need. And so small businesses, they need to be out there saying, being ahead of the game, being competitive, and using the data to help them drive their products and services to the right market. And so, what better way to learn how to excel as a social media marketer than to spend a day with one? And so, I mean, that's very important. Okay, those are your influencers, those are your peers. All right, and so you should continue to listen to them. So you learn to listen, and that's something that is very important to understand, and that means paying attention, understanding, and focusing, and even responding appropriately to your consumers. Looking at the data means that you're listening to your audience, you're listening to your consumers. You're not just putting anything out there and see what sticks. All right. Now, I want to talk about some cool use cases that are out here where companies have used social media data to help them make better decisions. I want to start off. So, a digital marketing expert from Krispy Kreme, and everybody knows Krispy Kreme, that the delicious donut. I love it when it's heated up. Okay, it's all about, you got to heat up the donut before you eat it. Okay, my sons love it when it's heated up. Don't eat it without heating it up. I'm going to get upset. All right, but Krispy Kreme. Okay, and I put here Krispy Kreme or Krispy Kreme with a C, and I did that because what's happening is Krispy Kreme is not only looking for, they're doing keyword searches out there. They got tools that are that are that are analyzing all the different social media platforms out there, but they're analyzing it. They're capturing people who are saying the words Krispy Kreme with a K, but they're also capturing the people that are saying Krispy Kreme with a C, because they're listening to some of the untagged brand mentions. And that's important to monitor some of those conversations and create some search queries out there. And that's what they're doing. So now they're able to capture everybody that is talking about Krispy Kreme. And that's driving the decisions that they're making. All right. Now you got Buffalo Wild Wings. So the social media manager from Buffalo Wild Wings said that they're searching Twitter and Instagram for brand mentions, March Madness hashtags, and a variety of the keywords to help feed a tourney tracker. Okay, so they had a tournament tracker during March Madness time, and during that time, they were tracking all of those keywords in place to help them make some of their better decisions and make sure that their tournament tracker site does not go down because there's too much traffic. So once they knew that it was a certain amount of mentions, then they would actually scale their systems out so that they can be able to perform better, so that when people are accessing the tournament site, then they know that they're being more efficient, right? They're preparing ahead of time. Okay. And what they did was they categorized some of those untagged mentions into two different categories. Um, like negative complaints and neutral mentions as well. And any comment that mentioned their brand name without asking any question or raising a concern were called neutral mentions, right? And this can be a comment saying, I went to brand X, Y, or Z today, and they have a new collection, something like that, right? Okay, so those types of conversations are important, and they don't require maybe some brand intervention. But if there was something that was negative about the company, negative about Buffalo Wild Wings, negative about Krispy Kreme, then then they need to intervene. They need to be able to go in and reach out back to them through social media, or if somehow they were able to get their information through their email or something like that. They were able to reach out to them and say, "Hey, look, let me offer you something, a discount," or they'll send an ad their way, and you wonder, "Yeah, why did they get this ad?" Well, because you probably mentioned them in a negative way, and they're trying to offer you something better. Okay, and finally, Chick-fil-A. Now, Chick-fil-A is delicious. Okay, and I'm putting all these food brands up here. As you can see, I love food. Okay, now Chick-fil-A uses data to respond to 35,000 social media mentions a month. Okay, that is a ridiculous amount. Now they do have the backing for it. They have a social media manager. They have a person that deals specifically with the data on social media to help them make better decisions. On Facebook, where the brand has 7.5 million followers, the audience is heavily using the hashtag mom. So the content on Facebook focuses on recipes that would appeal to older females, while the team responds to like questions about availability and nutrition. So their focus is really like shortening approval times so that they can respond to questions and post new content faster. On Instagram, where the company has about 335,000 followers, the brand's approach is designed for platforms younger. So some of those younger users are important with the brand on Instagram. So what that means, they have a different approach. So most of the photos that are taken there are actual pictures of food, photos are taken on an iPhone, or I like the Android, so they're taking on Androids because I'm a big Android fan. So I'm sure they do. I didn't see it. I'm just saying that they're using iPhone, they're using Androids, and and the food is never retouched beyond a certain filter, and so they do this because that's it's driven by the data. Okay, and it's not just the sandwiches that they're taking pictures of. Every photo, it's not just about the sandwiches, it's not about the cow that's there. Every photo really tries to have sort of a human element because they looked at the data, and over time they notice every time they introduce a human element, like a hand reaching out or something, or being able to look at a hand reaching out for a sandwich or a milkshake or a burger. Okay, when they saw those type of posts that were out there and it was on a kitchen table, then the reach, the engagement will go crazy over it. So they're doing this because of the data. All right. Now, finally, I want to touch on. We can. I am going to hone in on some of the things that we covered, but really, I want to end this presentation by talking about how social media analytics drives business value. Now, out of everything we talked about with social media analytics, I know you heard me say a lot about um, making better decisions. Okay, that's ultimately what you're doing. You're making better decisions and you're making supported decisions with your social media content by using the data. All right, but some of the ways that social media analytics drives business value is by making a connection with and building a relationship with the consumer, with the customer, with the customer's friends. That's what it's about. It builds a bridge to your customers. Okay, there's a disconnect immediately there, but eventually you want to build that bridge, and what you're doing is, without being able to really touch them or talk to them in person or over the phone or physically touch them, the way you build a connection is by listening to what they're saying. The only way you're able to listen to what they're saying is by looking at the data behind it, looking at the insights. Okay, and really focusing on what's working is important. Okay, you want to be able to find what is working and focus on that. So if a customer bought your product after clicking some type of a tweet or something, then that means that it's working. Okay, why shift from that? But the only way you'll know if it's working is if you're looking at the data. Okay, now another way that you can drive business value with social media analytics is by looking at some of those crisis situations and being able to respond to that. Okay, as I talked about it before, Buffalo Wild Wings, if they're breaking their data into certain categories, you have the negative comments and then you have the neutral comments. They don't need to respond to the neutral comments, but they're responding to crisis and issues related to the brand by listening for those things. And so, with that being said, they're able to respond faster to what they know is more important. Because if their brand gets tarnished, then they lose their business, and it all goes downhill from there. All right. And lastly, there, uh, the way to drive business value with social media analytics is by driving customer centric improvement. Okay. You want to stay ahead of the competition. That is very, very key. Be the first to go to market with the product at the right time because there is a need for it. And the only way you know there's a need for it is when the customers are telling you that. The customers are telling you there's a need for it right now. Okay. There's another story. I can't really remember it too much off the top of my head, but Buffalo Wild Wings listened to customers saying, "Man, I wish there was some type of pumpkin spice wings or something like that." You have to look it up, but they did that. They wish that there was some type of pumpkin spice wings out there. They got enough people that said that, and they did it. They did it for a short period of time, and they got so much traction over time. And so, it's really all about listening and planning ahead. That's the way that social media analytics can help drive business value, being ahead of everybody else. Okay. And then being targeted about what you're trying to present from a product or service standpoint and who you're trying to present to. Okay. All right. So here's my contact information. Okay. Do not abuse it. Don't abuse it. But you can definitely reach me at browntree at mrdapperdata.com. This is my website. Right now, as far as the website, it goes directly to one of my landing pages right now. And the landing page helps you understand who I am, what I do, um, and I have a little gift for everybody coming up soon. So be on the watch out for that. I have a course coming out as well, so be on the watch out for that. And you can access my book from the landing page, or just reach out to me. I'll send you my information out there as well. And if you want direct access to the landing page, all you have to do is go to www.mrdapperdata.com/dapper movement /dapper movement. All right. And thank you. And I want to leave you all with these four quotes that I really love, that I talk about all the time. Data will talk to you if you are willing to listen. The data is out there. The data is everywhere. As a small business owner, as a small business, or as a business in general, when you're on social media, the data is sitting there, and it will talk to you if you're willing to listen to it and hear it out. Uh, Dapper data equals dapper decisions. Now, I talked about it. You must have clean data to make clean decisions. You must have efficient data to make efficient decisions. If you do have dirty data and your data does not have quality in there, then your decisions will not have quality, and your decisions will be dirty. Okay. Follow the data. The data will never lead you wrong. It'll tell you whether you're wasting your time. It'll tell you whether you need to make certain moves or not. Listen to the data, follow it to its entirety. And lastly, hire data as your employee. Okay. That would be the most loyal employee that you have if you hire the data. All right. So thank you all for having me today. I appreciate you all.
Okay. Now we're at the question and answer period. Are there any questions for our speaker?
Hi, yes, I have a question. Well, I just wanted to say first, oh, I can hear an echo in the back. That first, my grandfather's from Ghana, so it's really cool. You have a restaurant there. And then, well, what drew you to social media data analytics in the first place? Or did you originally know when you first started you wanted to do it specifically?
No, I didn't actually. And I'll play this during one of the vendor sessions, but uh, actually, I was telling my story a few weeks ago, and I was thinking, man, I love helping people, right? That was a passion of mine all the time. And then as I got as I got older, I said, all right, I wanted to get into data because that was a way I can use my skills of data science or technology to helping people. So I thought about things like predicting floods, right? Or doing something like curing cancer or heart disease or something like that, using data. But uh, as a small business owner, when you have to be on social media, I realized throughout my life, I've been through all of the social media platforms that are pretty known, right? Black Planet, MySpace, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. And I realized I actually hated social media, right? I hated it because it took up so much of my time, and the more time it took up, I wanted to solve that problem. So when you find a problem you want to solve, that was key to me, right? I said, how do I solve the problem of not wasting time? How do I solve the problem of not wasting money and energy? Because I know I needed to be on social media. I couldn't hire a $300,000, 200 something thousand dollar data scientist to do it for me. I needed to do it myself. And so when I realized that they had all of these free embedded social media tools, and they have a lot of them that are paid for as well, but they had a lot of free ones out there. I said, this is a perfect opportunity to find this as a niche that I wanted to do, because I wanted to solve a problem that I didn't like. So sometimes it's not all about really what you really love. Sometimes it's trying to solve the problem that you hate, right? So that's how I got into it as well.
Okay, wow. And I just have one last question. As someone that could work on their social skills a little bit, what are some tips to get better at networking with people or talking to clients?
Uh, Great question. Um, I think social skills is one of the most underrated things out there. I talked about that on a podcast that I just did recently, on my data science podcast, and we talked about how people in the technology field, they lack social skills. And I think really, just trying to do something, it's going to be uncomfortable, right? Trying to jump out there and trying to, maybe ease your way in, starting off with email or something like that, or reaching out to somebody via text. People have different ways that they learn. Maybe there's different ways that you can communicate to people as well. You can, like I said, through text, through voice, through visual, whatever your comfort level is. You may just have to take that leap and jump out there. Also understanding that, failing is a part of the process, right? When you are trying to grow in whatever you're trying to do, expect, right? Failure is a part of the process, right? I always say it's not a lesson. You're never taking a loss. It's a lesson learned. So now you figure out a better way to communicate and network the next time. You're not necessarily taking that loss, right?
That's something oh, sorry if I interrupted.
No, I was saying hopefully that helped you or
Oh,
helped.
yes, definitely. It's definitely something I need to work on, if you probably noticed. But thank you.
Yeah, and at any time, just reach out to me. I'm on LinkedIn at Mr. Dapper Data, and or Instagram or anything like that. And we can talk on working with those skills as well. You know, I Some people have the natural gift of being a gift of gab, or the gift of being able to just jump out there, and some people don't. And it just takes a little bit more work, but you can definitely do it. Right, that's the thing.
Okay, I'll definitely make sure to contact you. Thank you.
It looks like we have another question in the comments, one from Tiana Kennedy. It says, do you have any recommendations for social media groups for data analytics professionals or students to share information for learning/networking purposes?
So recommendations for social media groups for data analytics professionals. Yes, right. It's kind of so when I started to get into the field, I realized that people would use other terms besides like social media analytics or social network analytics. They'll use like digital marketing, right? Analytics, those type of terms. So search for that. What I do is, or what I did, and I still do, is I follow a lot of the hashtags on things like LinkedIn, right? So on LinkedIn, there are a lot of social network analytics people. There are also a lot of people who love digital marketing, um, like social media analytics, social network analytics, and so I follow those hashtags, right? Also, I will follow social media analytics hashtag, social network or digital analytics, and I also post them with those hashtags as well. And so there's groups out there that, or there's people who, like myself, every time I post, I make sure I'm using those hashtags, and so it's sort of a connection you're building with people out there, right? Using and sometimes looking for some of those other terms besides just social network analytics or social media analytics. And also, there's a lot of books out there that people are producing related to that as well. The other question was students to share information for learning, networking purposes. I do believe there are some other students. If you're asking, are there students to try to connect with, to be able to share some of the that you can kind of learn or network with? Yeah, there are some that are out there. Actually, it's weird. There's not that many courses that focus in on that, right, in the business industry. And I remember talking to Amy about this recently. That's a skill, right? That's up and coming. I really believe that people should really try to hone in on. You know, trying to maybe make that something that is a curriculum inside of universities. You know, social media analytics for businesses. Um, but I can maybe try to dig. I'll write that down actually to see if I can find some of that information, and I'll send it to Amy, and maybe she can distribute it for me. Any other questions?
Hi, I have a question. I really appreciated your presentation. Thank you for being here. I was wondering from your point of view, like outside of the use of hashtags, what is the common denominator across like viral or popular content? Like what is it? What is the thing that draws in more viewers and more engagement?
I what I'm seeing is an emotional, and that's a great question, by the way. What I'm seeing is an emotional connection, right? Um, Being able to videos are drawing in, with most of my clients, videos are drawing in more than just regular posts, right? And questions as well. So you're almost forcing somebody to engage with you. But from a video standpoint, people really are making a connection with you, right? Instead of actually, it's almost like you're having a conversation with somebody, you really understand them a lot better. And so the videos are driving the charts up like crazy for a lot of my clients. A lot of them have done. I have one client that I work she deals with DUI patients, and she actually she has a course and everything like that. So, you know, but she works a lot with mental health as well, and she would post every once in a while, right? So I would say consistency and emotion. So she would post every once in a while, probably once every week, you know, but it would be some post that really wasn't driving engagement. We were trying to get the engagement up, right? What mattered is it's not about how many followers you get, right? For a business, businesses think, oh man, I need to get all these followers. I need to get, you know, all these likes, right? If you have 500 followers and each one of your followers are paying you for your business, then that's better than having 20 million followers and you're only getting like 10 people actually paying you for your business, right? And so so she was really interested in followers, but we shifted it and we wanted the saves, we wanted the shares. The shares were important because the shares would actually, that means that I'm not only reaching you, but I just reached somebody else that I didn't even have a connection with, right? And the saves were important because that meant that I touched you in some way to make you continue to want to watch that video over again, or maybe show it to somebody else as well. So the videos get a lot of that type of engagement.
Thank you so much. That's so interesting.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Uh-oh. Ryan, do you have a question?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. When it came to accessing a lot of the data that you dealt with to answer these social media questions, what were your main methods of usually collecting that data? Were you just accessing it via what your clients gave you when it came to like number of views that or views on posts or videos that your clients would have gotten, or were there other methods of getting that data?
So there's many methods that you can use to get social media data, right? Now, what I'm doing is I'm trying to get the non-technical uh, small business owner to be able to feel confident enough to analyze their own data, right? And so if it was a technical person, which I have worked with some clients that were pretty technical, I could go another route as well, add it on to what they have. But say you have a business account within Instagram, it's free. The business account is free. You can go to your insights page. It's a page in there right on Instagram that actually allows you to look at all that stuff, right? Your engagements and everything like that. So that's one way that you can sort of just manually collect some of the data. We look at it. Facebook as well allows you to do the same thing. What they would do, the non-technical clients would allow me to have access to the analytics page on their Facebook page, right? Or they'll allow me to have access to LinkedIn, their and LinkedIn analytics, or whatever analytics they need, YouTube as well. And then I would go in and I would actually, you can export it CSV file and you can do some pretty cool stuff with it. If you're a coder, you can actually use R programming, or you can use, Python or something like that, to analyze some of the data that's there. Twitter is awesome at allowing you to connect to their API, and you can download all the data set that you need, right? There's just so much data that Twitter allows you to do as well if you're technical. Now there's other tools out there that I didn't talk about in here as much because I just wanted to let you know some of the free tools that were there that's already embedded in the site. But there are tools like Google Analytics, right? Google Analytics is a free tool as well, but it's a little overkill for maybe the small business owner that's just trying to get started. It can really be overwhelming, but it talks about cool stuff like conversion rate, right? How do you convert somebody from a Facebook ad over to the cart, the shopping cart, right? Which is important. Maybe your mobile page is not working well, but your desktop is working well. So those things I talked about in the video as well. So the Google Analytics, you can actually become certified in advanced. You can be advanced. So you can get certified in like 2 different levels. And I got those certifications. It's free to take the certification as well. So once you take the certification, it takes about probably a few days or something just to pass the test at the end, and also, take the class. So once you take the certification, you're good to go, and you kind of market yourself as a Google Analytics expert. But that's one tool that's very common out there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm. And Amy, you had a question, I think, right? Sorry, I'm kind of long-winded.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry. This is very quick. At what point do you, when you set a social media strategy, how long do you wait to see if it actually took?
Great question. So I would say it varies. It varies from business to business. It varies on what products you're trying to sell. Sometimes it varies on how big of a hole you might have dug yourself into beforehand, right? Because
Right.
you may have positioned yourself out of the eyes of your audience. A lot of times, I think the most common issue with most of the clients that I deal with is, and this is probably the hardest part, for them is trying to find their target audience. A lot of times they are creating ads and just sending it out to everybody. They're creating, they're sending, they're focusing on a target audience that is probably not the right target audience for them, whether it's gender. I mean, most of the posts that I do on Instagram and even ads that I've done on Instagram is getting a rate of, or the age range is 25 to 35 years old. That's probably the age range that you'll get on Instagram, right? Whereas if you go over to LinkedIn, you'll get a different age range that you're targeting. And so if you want to hit all of them, but you try to send the same message across, it might not stick across the board, right? You might have to send a different message on Instagram to cater towards the younger generation than you send on LinkedIn. And then gender as well, right? I mean, and what you want to be able to do when you define your target audience, you want to be able to say stuff. You want to get real granular with it, right? You want to get real specific. And what I mean by that is, I may want a small business owner. And what does that mean? What does that look like? Well, it might be a single family home. It might be married with kids, right? It may be in the location of DC, Maryland, and Virginia, and maybe not Los Angeles, California. Or it may be the opposite. I might get more traction out in Los Angeles, California than I get here. So targeting, I think, is the biggest problem. And if you're not targeting the right audience, then trying to redirect it, I think, is going to be what I've seen as being the most difficult part.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other questions? Well, they can always reach out to you via social media, LinkedIn, and also if you're at the social networking activities.
Mhm.
I forgot what you said. Will you be there today or tomorrow or?
Yeah, I'll be there 2 out of 3 of the days, I think. Might be
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well,
That's
thank you so much. This has been great, and I'm very thankful you were able to make it and give this great talk. And okay,